Aloha, Kona Pacific.
Aloha.
We're here in the garden and we are standing here at the worm bin. Why are you here?
I have recently made a worm box at my house and I need some worms so they can start eating my compost.
She come to the right place? Did she come to the right place? Do you guys give me a thumbs up that there's worms in here? I hope so. Can we come in? Good morning, worms. What have we got here? Let's zoom in and look at what's happening in our worm bin. Lots of good worm castings. I can see some wormies in here. This is really good for the soil. Oh, somebody put a plastic cup in here. Look at that. It's one of those paper-lined cups when you get tea from Auntie Mac. Paper lined with plastic. So this stuff is ready for our garden, and this stuff looks ready for some investigation. So what have we got here? Who remembers why we put in the paper? Do you know why we put in paper?
No, why do we put in paper?
It's what we call their bedding. It helps it not be too wet. They actually chew on it themselves to complement all this green stuff. So paper is the carbon, and all this green stuff from our lunch bucket and from the garden is more nitrogen. So it's a balance. It's like the balance we do in the compost bin. So I layered this just the other day so that they could find all these new quarters. There's not that many worms in it yet. But as we go deeper, the sun shines in here. What do you guys notice?
It's moving.
Here, you take that one.
Ooh.
Ooh, there's a pocket.
Oh my Lanta. Look at all them. What are they eating down here?
They are seeing sunlight. Do worms like sunlight?
Do you guys like sunlight?
They don't.
Does not appear so.
If you remember what we learned about worms, or if you haven't learned it yet, they don't have eyes, and they don't even have lungs. So they are absorbing oxygen right where their skin meets the air, and their skin needs to stay wet. And so that way, what we're doing right now is we're like changing their way that they get air, and they will know that they want to stay wet. And when you guys hold one in your hand, you only do it for a short time. Oh, look at the little baby.
Oh, little itty bitty. He's like,
So, we're going to get some for you to put in your worm bin at home.
Yes, please.
And when you take them home, you can just put them in your new worm bin. You can like layer it. It'll give you some soil. They definitely need food. If you give them too much food, that's going to be okay. The food may smell a little funny or dry out. But if you don't give them enough food, they just start shrinking in population. They just make less babies.
So is enough food like a thin just layer covering the space you have, or like what is?
Yes,
like,
that is an excellent question. Enough food is going to be something that you're going to monitor as you go. So enough food would be that you keep seeing more worms produced. Enough food would be looking like this. Now, if you have all this green matter mixed with the paper, it's not going to get wet and gloppy. Eventually the worms will start populating it, and that's going to be a nice kind of mass for them. And then the worms will make their way in, and they'll start making their worm poop, the worm castings that we call worm poop. I can put some of these babies in here and cover them up, but I do have enough paper right now. Tomorrow or in 1 week, I'll check it again. And if you don't see paper and it's feeling sticky, we'll add more paper. But we can also visit this again and make another video once maybe you want to make a video at your house.
So when I put these in the bin at my house, poor little baby, I am gonna dump them on top and give them a little blanket covering.
Yes, I'm gonna get you some paper right now. Let's make a
That little
demonstration.
baby.
So let's say Mac's worm bin is ready. She'll put in a few pieces of some paper like this, and then let's go. I have some scraps in here. Shake a little bit of my lunch bucket in there. It's getting wet, right? It's still a little wet. And now sprinkle in the worms. Yeah. A little paper for bed. A little more food.
Got a straggler.
More paper. A little piece of wood. So that should do it. Leave them alone. Check on them tomorrow. Check on them in 3 days. And then you'll adjust it. And remember, the worms like it dark. So we're going to cover that up again. And we'll say, have a good sleep.
Good night.